Probando, probando. Probando, probando. Probando, probando. Probando. Vale. With the speak. Que no me refería a eso, joder. Me refiero a que si tú quedas el viernes y yo quedo el sábado, pues no nos vemos ni el viernes ni el sábado. Me explico, porque tú estás con Chucky el viernes y yo estoy aquí, o dos haciendo lo que quieras, y yo salgo el sábado y tú estás en tu casa, ¿vale? Entonces, por eso decía, de coordinarnos, de los dos salir el mismo día, aunque no salgamos juntos, aunque no estemos juntos, da igual, pero por lo menos, o el viernes o el sábado sí que estaremos juntos, tú y yo. O sea, que no es por hacer salir juntos por fuerza. A eso me refería, ¿vale? Que parece que no me entiendes.
Hi.
Hi, hello.
Hello.
I'm the host, technical host of your demo session. So
Nice to meet you.
I'm here waiting for the other participant in order to.
Yeah, we are just two here.
How is going your participation in the conference? Are you enjoying?
Yeah, everything is good till now. But the demo session is quite annoying, isn't it? Because we have to present twice.
Okay.
But I think for such a big conference with many participants, everything is smooth.
Yeah. For us, it's a pity that you weren't here in Seville with us, because it's really enjoyable city.
Yeah, we really missed it. I have been there once 2 years ago
It's a pity. Okay.
for another conference
Do you
in
like it?
Seville. Yeah, it's really beautiful city. Specifically the place that we are sitting now.
Yeah. Virtually. Where virtually.
Yeah, virtually you are there.
Because actually I'm in a really ugly office. So
Yeah, unfortunately.
yeah.
Do we need to check something? For example, sharing screen to check that if it works or not?
They do it. Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
I have Chrome. Now you can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just going through something, clicking, and it works.
It's perfect because I see you in the bar, in the sidebar, and your screen in the.
Okay.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Perfect. I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, it worked reasonable good, the Zoom for this session. So
Yeah.
it's good. I'm gonna take some water. So wait a minute, please.
Yeah.
I don't used to publish in BPM because it's not my central research topic. It's not my central area. But instead, I have published some paper with Min-Seok Song.
Yeah, I know him.
He's really good guy. So
Yeah,
really
from
good.
Korea.
Yeah, I was there in Korea for 3 months in a research stay with them, and it was really nice. So do you know Korea, South Korea?
Yeah, but I haven't been there, and I really like to go and visit there. But
It's
one of
recommendable.
his PhD students, one of his master students, Min-Seok Song, he joined us one year ago, and now he's doing his PhD with us, with Will, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
The session is in quarter to 2, I think. So we have time.
Yeah. I think we still have 15 minutes.
Well, for your knowledge, obviously the session is being recorded. So for you know.
Okay. But you will cut that, right? Or not?
I can do it, but well, here is entering Luis Hanna.
Hello. Good
Hello,
afternoon.
Luis. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the demo session.
Yeah, welcome.
Come.
Okay.
If you want to check your screen sharing or whatever, you may do it before it starting. Okay, Luis?
Yeah, I have nothing to share, but the demo presenter, maybe you want to try it out.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm only joining for session share.
Perfect. That's great. Perfect.
Yeah, so like we will have 3 presenters in our session. Let me have a look.
Mhm.
So we have the Celonos process repository. We have the practical aspects of privacy preserving data. And are you presenting it, Mach?
Muted. Yeah, I was muted. I will present it.
Okay. How is your name?
Majid.
Majid. Okay.
For the people from Germany, it's quite difficult to pronounce, right?
Yeah,
Because
if you get an idea, okay.
it's Maid.
Maid. Okay.
In German, it's Maid, but the right pronunciation for that it's Majid.
Majid.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. If you get an idea what it could be, then it's easy. Yeah, and then there's also the SWIPEX, a web service for discovery and visualization. Yeah, I think Gabriela is presenting the Celonis part.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. Yeah, if you want to try out and check whether it's working, then you can start.
I already checked that it works.
Okay, so Gabriela, if you like, you can also check whether it's working.
Perfect, fantastic. Let me just refresh everything here.
Okay.
So I'm not logged out of the product. Perfect. So let me share my screen. Sure. Awesome. Are you seeing the process repository slide? Fantastic. Now, are you seeing process repository?
Yes.
Awesome. And then, are you seeing the variant explorer?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. And then the process repository slide again.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All working.
Yeah, it's like everybody has 10 minutes to present whatever you want to show. And then there will be questions and you can discuss with the participants. And that I will like give a sound after 5 minutes that we know, okay, now we should slowly stop with the discussion. And then you can finish what you just have started and so on. And then we give the participants the opportunity to change the sessions. There was also the idea that we should maybe Carlos, maybe you can add it. The idea was that we have in the chat later also the other links to the other meetings.
Okay.
That the people can easier hop from one or to the other.
Okay, I'm looking for it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, okay. So like 10 minutes presentation, then enough time for having Q&A. I will ask the people that they can send it via the chat or simply unmute themselves and ask a question. And then we have the gong, so to say, and then we have the smooth transition phase, and then we start with the next presentation. And each of you will present one after another. So Gabriela will start, then we have Majid. I get
Majid.
Majid.
Yeah.
And then Niels, are you the ones responsible? Yeah, I think our third presenter is maybe not yet here. And then the third presenter will present, and then we start again. Yeah, and yeah, you can also use the time to hop into another. I will be always here, and but yeah, like you wish. You can also stay with us.
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's see. It's usually and very interacting, and today it's really different. But yeah, I think we made the best out of it.
True.
I have just shared in the chat the links to the other demo and resources session. Okay. You are mute, but
Yeah.
you're saying thank you very much. You are really handsome.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Niels, are you there now?
Sorry?
Niels, are you there now?
Niels.
Yeah, there's a Niels Tam in our. I'm looking for the presenter for Spivex.
It's not here.
Niels, someone with the name Niels is there, but
Tam, yeah.
it's muted.
Yeah.
Perhaps he's eating something or
having a coffee.
You know, it's the hour. Okay, sorry, I mute and you control Luis.
Yeah.
I'm here for whatever you want. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Carlos.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I looked it up. We are waiting for Florian Sterz from Vienna University. Carlos, is in the other Zooms, are there also organizers? Because Claudio cannot open it.
Why?
Claudio cannot open his Zoom links, and somehow the hosts are missing.
There are other hosts. There is one host in each session. So.
And they should be ready, right?
Claudio is in 2 sessions in parallel.
Yes, I think he is in 2 and 4, and he does say it says the host should open it.
Really?
So the hosts are missing, I guess.
Okay, I'm going to say within our WhatsApp group, internal WhatsApp group.
Yeah, thanks for everybody who has joined already. We start in a few minutes. Is there already Florian? in the Zoom meeting? I don't see him. Okay.
Not yet, no?
I hope he comes soon. I will write him in the message.
But if he's not available at the beginning, I can start maybe.
Gabriela is starting, then it's your turn, and then he will be there. It's only that he should have the chance to do it or to check it out. But yeah,
Okay.
then we do it.
Okay.
Wild by having the Zoom meeting. Seem to have worked out.
Now we have Florian here.
Yeah, Florian is there. Yeah, he's still connecting. Okay, hello Florian. Do you want to check out your slides or your tool shortly? And then after you have checked it out, I would opening the session.
I just need to check screen share in the end because it's a web-based tool, so we'll be clicking around the website.
Okay, then.
I have no idea. How can I?
You should have the possibility to share your screen.
Share screen there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, yeah, we can see it. It works. Then please stop sharing. So, yeah, thank you very much for joining. I now want to open the session. As we already have discussed in the teaser, we have 5 parallel Zoom sessions. Carlos was also so nice to have all the links in our chat available. And we will now start with Gabriela, and I will then say when it's time to swap to the next one. I will indicate it, and yeah, Gabriela will present, and then you can ask questions by unmuting yourself, or you can type it also in the chat. Okay, Gabriela, you can start.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you very much. So hi everyone, my name is Gabriela and I'm a specialist UX designer at Celonis. And together with my colleagues, Jerome, Payman, Muhammad, and Thomas, we would like to present you our powerful and brand new process repository application. So now I'm gonna share my screen. Does everyone see my process repository slide?
Yes, very well.
Fantastic. So Process Repository is a new product service offered by Celonis that serves process documentation purposes. The Process Repository is available in our Intelligent Business Cloud and is natively linked to all other Celonis applications. Through this new service, we provide a centralized environment for documenting your mind processes to the repository, uploading existing ones, or design new models using the Process Modeler. Additionally, the Process Repository allows you to store processes that are designed in various BPM tools, as well as providing public APIs that allow all BPM providers to integrate with Celonis and send and receive process models for different purposes, all the ones that are saved in structured folders. And through these capabilities, Process Repository brings BPM and process mining closer to each other. So now it's with a great honor that I'll guide you guys through this powerful new application and all its new features. Oops. Perfect. So Process Repository provides folder tree structure capability as seen here on the left part, which contains organizational process architecture. And here on the right, which is currently called the home page, users can monitor all the changes history, see what was changed, by whom, and in which category the change was done throughout the entire process architecture. If a user is interested in a specific change, he or she can click on the show category, which highlights where the change was made in the process architecture. And as you might have noticed here on the left, the folder structure got expanded to show the highlighted category, which refers to a category on a level under source to pay. And this folder tree structure capability enables forming the organizational process architecture by adding different levels of processes. Each category contains different attributes. The name and the description are provided, as well as internal or external links that can be a Celonis process analysis to drill down and check the process performance, for example, or an SAP security guide. Users can add multiple attachments of supporting documents, such as process policies and guidelines. Then there is the commenting capability, which allows employees to better collaborate and communicate on a process category level. And process responsibilities are shown in terms of process owner. Additionally, in order to increase the transparency, users can also monitor all the process changes here in the history section and see what was changed in this specific category and who applied the changes. Next to the attributes, process categories can contain the process models. This section enables users to document business processes for the respective category. A new model can be uploaded, or it can be also modeled out of the box using the BPM modeler. You can also view the existing BPMN using the BPMN editor to make the changes you want. So here, let's remove this activity. And we also provide versioning capability, which enables monitoring of different versions and track the process model changes in time. When processes are documented in the process repository, they can be retrieved in the Celonis process analytics for process mining purposes, such as conformance checking. After opening the analytics, I can add a new sheet and add the conformance checker app. Users can see various options for defining the target model, such as mining capabilities, as well as retrieving the models from the process repository. Here shows a list of the stored processes in the repository, and by selecting them, I receive the model in the conformance checker to be compared against the discovered model. I'm not going to explain the conformance checking here since this is not part of the scope. Additionally, users can adjust the process model or can mine a new one by clearing, and then I can click mine. Here I can see all the process variants, and as a process owner, I know which ones are reflecting the expected process model. By selecting and launching, now I visualize this variant as a BPMN. This model can be directly documented in the repository by clicking on the Save Model in the repository. Then here I select the desired category, and then I can update an existing process model, or I can add and create a new one. Additionally, process documentation is also possible directly from the Explorer component. You can select the desired variants, and then by right-clicking on the model, I can export and save the BPMN to repository on the same way we just saw. So I select the category, and in this case, I'm gonna create a new model. So let's call test 1, variant 1 and 5. Perfect. Now this is documented in the repository. Then if I go back to the process repository, and then let's refresh my screen. Perfect. I can see the model that I just saved from Process Analytics. And here we see that we got the BPMN format of the 2 selected variants. Thus, by developing Process Repository and its capabilities, we are aiming to support various use cases, such as audit and compliance. Now, after the demo, you might wonder, how can you use it? So for all academics, I would like to invite you to sign up for the IBC Academic Edition through the celonis.com/academic-alliance, or you can reach out to the Academic Alliance team via the academic.alliance@celonis.com. And for Celonis customer, you can reach out to your customer success manager. So thank you very much for your interest and attention, and I wish you all happy process mining and happy modeling.
Yeah, thank you, Gabriela. Now the floor is open for questions. You can either put them into the chat or unmute yourself.
Should I stop sharing them?
Can I have a question?
Yeah, please, Marlon.
Yes, so thank you for the demo. I was wondering if there is anything on the way of process architecture, like, being able to depict the process landscape and value chains and being able to link that to individual process models?
Yes, fantastic. That is a very great question. And yes, this is currently in our roadmap.
So it's planned for the future. Then.
Yeah.
Yes. I have also a question. So you showed that you can transform the DRG or the directly follow graph into a process model or a BPMN. So like, can you handle like XOR and AND gateways, or how do you do it? Or is it always then an XOR gateway?
Oh, that's a really great question. And, and I will contact my product manager, and then I can answer you later if you want to the WOV application.
Yeah, I'm assuming that it will always end up in an XOR, but I was like interested. Okay.
Sorry.
Matteo, yeah, please.
Great talk. And do you plan to make available statistical tools? For example, my question is, I'm not in this field actually, but one of the things that I needed more is to know the dimensions, the size of the processes. For example, how many XOR blocks, how many AND blocks to test the performance of the algorithms and the work that I done with my group. So do you plan to make available statistical tools just to have an idea of the various sizes of these processes?
Mm-hmm. Got it. So thank you very much. And this is a very great point. And I'll take this to our product team to analyze that and probably include this on our roadmap.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, there's still room for questions. So anybody interested in seeing more? Yeah, I have also seen that you have decided for BPMN IO. So like maybe what was the choice for doing or for selecting this?
Well, it was a great tool and a great way that we could integrate this functionality into the conformance checker. It worked pretty well. It solved what we needed to do. So that's why.
Okay. And yeah, what I was interested in how are deviations shown? So like when you have the conformance checking and you now want to see what was working differently, so like how is it shown?
Sure. So let me share my screen again. And then I can show you. Share. Let's see. Here. So in the conformance checking, we show all the deviations that happened between the target model and the SS through the violations. And then you can click and then you can see more information about it and even perform root cause analysis.
So it's not directly shown in the model, it's more like a textual description.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Did you do user studies? What is perceived as very helpful or?
Yes, so the way we are offering this right now to understand the deviations. So you can do either through the conformance checking, in which you compare the SS through the target model, or you can also compare the different variants that you have for any specific process, and then directly see here all the deviations that occur.
Ah, okay, it's a visualization in the model, yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then this had been pretty successful and our customers have been very happy.
Okay, there's still the possibility for one last question.
Hi.
Hi, Ingo.
Hi. Thank you for this presentation. Just the last thing you showed there, the root cause analysis. I mean, you know, the root cause might be outside the process log and it might be unobservable through that. Isn't that a bit of strong wording? I mean, aren't you promising more than you can possibly do with the data that you have?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So obviously you can only identify root causes for things that you have currently on the system, that you have digitalized or documented in the IPC. And that's what we can provide. And it's currently solving our,
Yeah, that's my stopper. Oh yeah, please finish your sentence.
Perfect. So since this theme and this presentation is more in regards to the process repository, I would be more than happy to continue this discussion with you later through the Wova application. You can send me a message and then we can continue from there.
Sure, thanks. Will do.
Okay, then let us thank us, Gabriela. There's also this reaction button down there where you can clap your hands if you like. Otherwise, we now have the opportunity to either stay with us and look for the next demo, which is about practical aspects of privacy preserving data publishing and process mining. Or you find also in the chat the links to the other rooms if you want to go into another room. Okay. Thanks, Gabriela. And then we can now change to the next presenter.
Thank you.
Okay, hi everybody. Let me share my screen with you first.
Yeah, give everybody 1 minute to change the room.
Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we can see your screen. And let's wait for 1 minute that everybody can transition between the rooms.
Sure.
I saw also new faces, so or new names, not so many faces. Okay, yeah, now it would be time. The floor is yours.
Okay, hi everybody again, and welcome to our tool demonstration. And here I'm going to show the main functionalities of our web-based application for privacy preservation in process mining. I will start with the standalone web-based app, and I will show at the meantime the other integration of privacy preservation techniques. So let's start with this standalone web-based app. Here you see the main page of this application, and on the left menu you can see 4 main modules that we have: event data management module and 3 different privacy preservation techniques. Let's start with the event data management module, where you can upload your event log and manage your event log. You can actually manage both standard event logs and non-standard event logs. You can just easily select your event log here. For example, here I want to use one event log, which is not too big, not too small, to save the presentation time. For example, receipt event log. Before setting this event log as input, you can see that you can set this event log as input, delete it or download it. But before setting that as input, if you go to privacy preservation techniques, you will see this red message indicating that you have not set any event log, and you can use event data management module to set your event log. Okay, let's set this event log as input. It's reading the event log now. Once it's set as the input, you can see some just general statistics about that, number of traces and number of events for this event log. Now, if I go to the privacy preservation techniques, you will see that receipt is used as an input. But let's go to TLKC privacy model, which is a group-based privacy technique for process mining. Here you see the main page for this technique. There are some parameters, but behind these parameters, there are some concepts that for the sake of time, I'm not able to explain all of them. But here you can set the time accuracy of the resulting event log, privacy aware event log. For example, we can set it as seconds, minutes, hours, or days. Then there are 4 types of background knowledge. I will set it just for set. Then you can set the size of your background knowledge, key anonymity value, confidence bounding value, which is for sensitive attributes, and frequency threshold, which is used in the background to find the maximal frequent traces. Here you see 2 boxes. One box, left box. In the left box, you can choose the sensitive attributes, which are categorical, and on the right one, you can choose the sensitive attributes which are numerical. For example, I can set just one of the attributes like responsible as the sensitive attribute. And if I apply that, you will see that it's running, and this indicates the loading bar of this privacy preservation technique. And when it's ready, you will be able to see that in this independent output section for this privacy preservation technique. So I'm waiting to that to be finished. Now it's ready. You can see that we follow a specific approach for the naming of these event logs, privacy aware event logs, such that at the beginning, you can see the name of technique that we applied, the timestamp, name of the original event log, and some information about the parameters that we have used, just to be able to uniquely identify the privacy-aware event logs while you are using different event logs in the system. So here you have this opportunity that you can add this event log to the list of event logs, delete it or download it. Let's add it to the list of event logs again. If I do that, then you would be able to see this event log in the event data management part. Here you see that this event log has been added to the list of event logs, and it's in the cycle of privacy preservation techniques again, so that you can set it as an input again and apply other privacy preservation techniques. So I will set it as input again. And after setting that as an input, you will again see the general statistics about that. And now it's available in other privacy preservation techniques. Let's say that I will apply one other privacy preservation techniques, which is used to discovering rules from event logs without disclosing who is doing what. I will apply it just with the default parameters that you can see here. You see that it's running, but since this application developed by the Django framework, each privacy preservation technique is independent application so that you can apply two techniques at the same time. You saw that that one is running, and at the same time I can apply connector method to the same event log. And now both of them are running to provide the results. But to save time, I will go to another integration, which is into PMTK, which is a web-based application for process mining. In the standalone version that I just showed you, you are not able to apply privacy preservation techniques. It's just for privacy preserving data publishing. But here, the difference is that you can apply the same techniques, then you can directly see the process mining results over the privacy-aware event logs. Here you see that we have, at the first page, you see that we have two event logs. If I pick one of the event logs, you would directly see the directly follows graph for that event log. It's running. But I'm not going to show the functionalities of this web-based app for process mining. I just want to show this privacy tab where we have integrated our privacy preservation techniques. But you see that you are able, in this page, you are able to see the number of variants, gates, events, and you can just use this. You can use this option to set the simplicity of this event log based on the frequency of the directly follows relation. But I will go to privacy preservation techniques here. You can see that we have the same techniques integrated into PMTK. I can go to, for example, again, TLKC and apply TLKC technique on the same event log. You can apply that. Here you see the loading bar. The difference here is that you will be able to directly see the, for example, directly follows graph on top of this privacy aware event log. But at the moment, it's trying to provide the privacy aware event log for us. It's running. Now the result is ready. If I click on that, I would be able to see the directly follows graph, which is on top of the new event log, which is privacy aware event log now for us. You see that the result is exactly the same as the result for the original event log, but for the same simplicity measure, simplicity value. But let's go back here. You see the connector method is still running. And also privacy aware techniques is still running. It's weird that it's take more time here. But when it's ready, you will see the result in this output section, which is independent output section for this technique. For each technique, we have independent output section. Then you would be able to, if the file, the resulting file is XCS event log, you can add it to the list of event logs. But if the file is not standard event log, like the result that you can get from connector method, you can add it to the list of non-standard event logs, which is just XML file with specific attributes and specific pattern. But since this is still running, but I can show you in the event data management file that you can download the first one that we have applied TLKC privacy technique. And what I'm going to show you is the option to see the privacy metadata. It's opening the file. Everything is too slow, probably because of my laptop. It's still opening one simple event log, okay? You can see this XCS event log, right? And at the log level, you can see privacy metadata information because since we applied
we
TLKC,
cannot see the event log yet.
Okay, probably I have to change this.
Yeah, the sharing method maybe.
Yes. I will share it. Now you can see, right?
Yes.
You can see that I have this privacy metadata information after applying TLKC method. Since in the background, what we are doing is just suppressing some event, deleting some events. You can see that we applied suppression techniques at the level of events and to the target of events. So that means that we removed some events from the event log. So, and these are still running. Connector method is done. You can see that you can apply that. You can add it to the list of non-event logs, but you cannot see the screen now. Are you?
Now we can only see the XML.
Okay, I will share this one again.
Great.
So in the non-event logs, you can see that I have added this new event log, which is not the standard event log, but we in this paper, in one of our papers that I have presented yesterday, we introduce event log abstraction for these types of results, which are not standard results. If you download that, again, I have to change my screen. Okay, here you see that this is event log abstraction, just an XML file. In the header part, you have privacy metadata information, and in the data part, you have data information. Header part includes the name of original event log that this intermediate result or event log abstraction results from that, and the method that we applied, and desired analysis. And desired analysis are directly follows graph and process discovery, because the only information after applying this technique is activity.
We have only a few minutes more, and there was a question
Okay.
in the chat. Maybe we take now questions.
It's done,
Yeah.
because the only information is activity and previous activity. So I can change it to the main tab that I had.
Celio, do you want to ask your question out loud, or should I? So if yes, then unmute yourself. Otherwise, I can also read it. Could you please elaborate about bias control through privacy preserving techniques? Do you have any real cases about that matter?
What do they mean by bias control? They mean fairness issues, discrimination issues, or?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that I think bias control goes maybe in the direction that it has, and that you bring some bias into it. Yeah, Celio, please.
Yeah.
Can you ask a question? Yeah, please.
Yes, I unmuted myself. Sorry, guys. Yeah, like I'm talking about bias control on data because sometimes we don't, we keep too much trend in the data, and this imputation of bias can happen, like it happens naturally. So by preserving the data as much as we can and working with privacy preservation techniques, how do you see this bias being controlled, not only on the data, but also in processes?
But still, I'm not sure if I understood your, what do you mean by bias?
Yeah, if you apply some of these techniques, I think you also bring some bias, some influence by your techniques into the new data. I
But
would interpret
all
it
these
that.
are related to data utility aspect of applying privacy preservation techniques, right? If I apply privacy preservation technique, one aspect is providing this data protection part, and another aspect is data utility part. And bias is one of the features for data utility. And for each technique, yes, sure, we consider both data protection side and data utility side. And here what you can see is just the privacy preserving data publishing techniques. But as you already saw in PMTK, that we have integrated our privacy preservation techniques, you saw that we applied the TLKC technique, but we were able to get the same results from the privacy aware event log. And what we do is that we either check the data utility part or result utility part. And in these applications, we check the result utility part. And when the result is similar or the same as the result that you can get from the original event log, we say that we keep data utility. And bias is one of the features for data utility. I don't know if I
Yeah,
answered.
we hope that answered the question. Otherwise, maybe you
Perhaps
can also talk outside. Okay, Will, please.
So if I can add a few words. So Majid is focusing on privacy issues, that we don't leak information unintendedly. Most of the techniques that Majid is using are typically raising the level of abstraction, right? And by raising the level of abstraction, I think you rarely introduce a new bias, right? But you confirm a bias that is already in the data. So in the end, Majid's goal is that the outcome of applying his techniques is exactly the same as before. If it had the bias before, it should have a bias afterwards, etc. But what is perhaps good to point out is that in the same research team where Majid is, there is also somebody focusing specifically on these fairness issues, where you deliberately would like to change your results in such a way that certain biases in the data are being removed. So these are two separate problems that could be combined, but the goal of Majid is to get the same result, not something different.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much for the explanation. Maybe we have time for a very short question.
I have a question concerning the app in and of itself.
Yeah, sure.
So it's based on Django, right? How do you manage to get the attributes that you list at the as the input so quickly? And how do you then make the request, the post request, to use that for the privatization algorithm?
So you mean handling this stuff in the Django? Because in the Django, all these are independent the Django applications. And the only thing that is shared between these applications is this event log that we set it here. When I set this event log, I just pass the name of this event log, which is in the directory, to all the privacy preservation techniques. And each one is independent application. And this is the only information that I pass between these applications. There is nothing else, right? And then after applying these techniques, I have new event logs. I save it in my directory. Then I can set it as input. And when I am setting as input, actually whatever I have in that event log is available for all the applications again.
Okay, my question was more so, I'm working on something similar where these sort of multiple choice select, I don't know what you're using exactly to select the attributes that you want to privatize. How do you
mean
pass
by
that
attributes? By attributes, you mean, for example, let's see the TLKC technique. I don't
Okay,
know why
I
everything
think
is
I
so slow.
unfortunately have to stop here.
You mean these? Okay.
There
Hang on.
are two possibilities. You either can write in the chat with each
Yeah,
other,
just write to me.
or there would be also the possibility we see you again in 1 hour, that Felix is joining us again. Yeah, then I would say let us thank Majid for his presentation.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And as I said beforehand, there are the links in the chat that you can also now move to another one. Otherwise, we will now continue with Florian, and he will present a web-based service for discovering and visualizing instance spanning constraints based on process logs. Yeah. Florian can slowly set up. We give half a minute the participants to change the Zoom sessions.
So does everyone see the
Yes,
website?
we can
Okay.
see. It's not very I think you have a good screen, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's a little bit small for us, but I can see now. Yeah, now it's better. Yeah.
I don't know which one is better. This or this.
Okay, then the floor is yours, Florian.
Hello and welcome to the really complicated title that we just heard. It's a fancy tool and it needs a fancy title. That's why we called it SwipeX. And the idea was we asked ourselves, so for example, if we have some process models, for example, here's an artificial printer example, where if you order a poster or the printing of some flyers, then you have a separate process. For example, for the posters, the order is received, the poster needs to be designed and printed and actually delivered at the end. And as well, there's a second process maybe in the company for creating a bill for it, and for the flyers as well. So there's a separate processes for flyers and a separate process for bills. If you execute one of these processes, they will be executing just fine. So in our test case, we had 900 of each. This accumulates to 1,800 bills. But we interestingly observe that there is sometimes a huge delay between the printing and the delivering. And we thought, why is that? And the reason is because that the instances of one process model can influence the instances of another process model. So for example, it makes sense for a company to go to the post office only once per day. So all the bills and posters and flyers that have been printed on one day will be collected and everything will be delivered on the same day. So what we can see here is the first of our inter-instance spanning constraints. The delivery, which takes time takes time simultaneously. How can we detect simultaneous events? We are working with XES logs, like most of us here, and we are working with the timestamp extension. And to be really sure that they are executed simultaneously, we are also working with life cycles. So, for example, if the starting point is between the other execution of an event, we can call it simultaneously if the starting point is relatively close, because sometimes there could be some errors in the measurement. And other instance spanning constraint, for example, could be from data elements. For example, we have here data constraints, execution constraints, and other regularities. This could be between the starting events of between two different starting events of different processes, between start and complete of a different process. So for example, we had here that sometimes the ink of a printer was so low that it influenced the other printing events because it had to be refilled. Other execution events would be, for example, that a clerk in a bank domain only can give out a specific amount of money each day, even though he can give many different clients loan money. He's also restricted by some other regularities. So, and here we have the other regularities where delivering and unfortunately where no rule apparently is shown. These data, these models are mined by the process logs that are given to the tool when we click in here at the end in the data set by using what we have seen in the first two presentations as well, directly follow graph. The ordering, for example, is more interesting in this real world example, where we have the manufacturing of some small parts of a gas turbine. And what we can see here is that we have 9 different process models, and that some of the events are directly followed always by another event. So for example, check state 2 is always preceding set 4. The number at the end we added so that we can distinguish between set and set. So this is set 4 and this is set 1. And some other events are not following each other. They could be executed in parallel or could be in different types of orderings. But we could detect a special kind of ordering, even though these process models are completely independent of each other. When you execute them, you can witness that there apparently is some strict ordering in these events involved. For this, of course, you need 2 different kind of process models to see some ordering. And the last one would be the non-concurrent. Sometimes there are events that are not allowed to be executed simultaneously. For this, of course, we need the life cycles so that we can check between the start and the completion of an event that the interval and when it's working, being executed is not overlapping with the other time interval of the execution time of another event. And what we can see here in this manufacturing process, that check state and machining 8 are not to be done simultaneously and concurrently. And in the end, we have also what we can see here is that if you have only one data set, of course, there's no instance spanning between different process models. So you can't see an ordering and a non-concurrent, which would be undetected. But even here could be simultaneous events or some data constraints. Here we start. So you have the personality of upload case, upload code phase 1 must be bigger than 10.5 and so on. So how can you test this or use it for yourself? This is a web-based tool. So we created a little REST service that is receiving the information and processing it. And you don't need to worry because it's every day after at 2 a.m. in the morning, I guess, or 3 a.m. in the morning, everything will be deleted. So if you need to be careful with some privacy issues. How can you upload a new data set? You give it a name, printer demo or something, because of course I'm prepared and have some XAS files here. Here you can define a merge attribute. So what is a merge attribute and why is it optional? So now we have the billing, we have a poster, and we have flyers. But how can you merge one trace of the bill instances with a trace of the flyer instances? And our way to do it is by using specific attributes or data elements of the process instance. So for example, the customer number. So if the same customer number should be available in the process instance of the bill, and the same customer number should be available in the process instance of a poster or order number. So since there is only one attribute possible in these test logs, we don't need to address it or input it. You can select what kind of algorithms you want to do. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We need to sync the names up because in the beginning they were called algorithm 1 to 4. Now they're called simultaneous non-concurrent ordering and so on. For example, for the ordering here, these are some attributes and parameters for the ordering. So if 95% of the cases would be the ordering that A follows B, then you could say that there's a strict ordering. And if you're only at maximum 5%, it would be in the other direction. So these are what these parameters mean. There's some filtering in the end because otherwise you would possibly find many events that are simultaneous or by accident or other regulations. The epsilon is an error management parameter. So for example, how many seconds or milliseconds a simultaneous event are allowed to take, since there are of course many measurement issues usually, but every system is very accurate. And we're using the algorithm of the heuristics miner to draw some heuristics net at the end, where you can input some the absolute number of edges and relative number of edges. And here also a disclaimer for the privacy issues. If you submit it, there will be the upload of the files. Unfortunately, it takes some time, so I wouldn't expect it to be finished around at the end of this demo. So I can't show you here, but since it's the same parameters, the same input, it should be equaling this process model with this instance spanning constraints. So yeah, questions maybe.
Yeah, thanks a lot. You can either put your questions into the chat or you can unmute yourself and speak.
Can I?
Yeah, please.
Hi. Thanks for this demo. So you call this instance spanning constraints, but they actually span different processes that take place. And I think this is very important, but also there might be instance spanning constraints, which are constraints over different instances of the same process. So you only need one event log, which relates to one process, and still you try to see constraints which span different instances of the same process. So I didn't catch it. Can you do that?
We can, so of course, yeah, this mainly focuses on the, so thanks for the question. This mainly focuses on the spanning constraints between different process models. And of course, there could also be in the same process model spanning constraints. For example, in a centrifuge, where you have to put a certain number of tests before you actually use it. So, and yes, the first two algorithms can cope with only one. It's allowed to only upload one process model. Of course, an ordering can't be seen with only ordering spanning constraints cannot be detected with only one process model, since the process model already should have some information about the ordering of the events. Of course, if it's a flower model, then not. And so if I recognize the question correctly, then yes, we can focus on spanning constraints that is only available in one log, but not with every algorithm possible here.
Thanks.
Okay, please go ahead. We have still time for further questions. So if here in this what you are showing here is that 3 events have really happened at the same time, or what do you show here to the?
So here in the visualization, it's not completely refined, this visualization, because in the backend we have a JSON result file where you can see the hits for the simultaneous events. And what you would detect here is that every day at 16 o'clock or 16 p.m. or 4 p.m. That these 3 events often happen together, or usually happen all the time. So what this red line should show would be
like a batching.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you can detect it over several processes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And of course, we should, on future work, we want to update so that if you hover with your mouse above the red lines, that you get the information, what actually, when is it simultaneous, this is how often is it simultaneously, and so on.
So to add some statistical values here. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so far no question in the chat. You can also unmute yourself. So this is a process which is coming from the from a printing domain, right?
The printer is artificially from created from source, but the manufacturing is a real world.
Yeah. Can you maybe a little bit present what you have detected then there? What like
Unfortunately, the main thing that we could detect here was the ordering, since it was the most interesting. It was also most interesting. It's a very linear process, and the different instances.
The events of different machines, or?
Yeah, there are different machines taking part in producing one product. So in the end, there is no parallelity seen between producing, for example, 2 or 3 or more parts at the same time. So the parts are produced in a sequence, but of course, for this part, other machines are operating in an order.
Okay, and then you can see that there's an ordering. Yeah, I'm wondering how you can distinguish between things, constraints over multiple event logs, which are there by chance, and by those which really are intended, so to say.
Yeah, that's what we try to use the filter parameters for as well. And yeah, of course, if you have 1 million instances, there's a huge chance that some are executed being simultaneously or not.
Yeah, so you have to work with statistics inside then. Okay, yeah, then let us thank the speaker. Thanks again. So there is this possibility that you can put a reaction and clap your hands, or you can also unmute yourself and say thank you. We will now repeat here our session. So like we will again start with Gabriela and then with Marit, and we'll continue. And you can think about either staying with us or changing into another Zoom session. The links you can find in our chat. Yeah, we have some few minutes to go, so we have I think 2 minutes for a break, and then we restart. And if you have a question to one of our presenters, then you can also fill this break with your question. Okay, then it's time. Let's start again. I think everybody has changed in his session. So Gabriela, please go ahead.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. So, hi everyone. I'm Gabriela and I'm a specialist UX designer at Celonis. And together with my colleagues Jerome, Peyman, Mohammed, and Thomas, we would like to present to you our powerful and brand new process repository application. So let me share my screen. Perfect. Is everyone seeing the process repository slide?
Yes, we can see it very well.
Fantastic. So Process Repository is a new product service offered by Celonis that serves process documentation purposes. Process Repository is available in our Intelligent Business Cloud and is natively linked to all other Celonis applications. Through this new service, we provide a centralized environment for documenting your mind processes to the repository, upload existing ones, or design new models using the process modeler. Additionally, the process repository allows you to store processes that are designed in various BPM tools, as well as providing public APIs that allow all BPM providers to integrate with Celonis and send and receive process models for different purposes, all the ones that are saved in structured folders. Through these capabilities, Process Repository brings BPM and process mining closer to each other. So now it's with a great honor that I'll guide you through this powerful new application and all its features. So the Process Repository provides folder tree structure capability as seen here on the left part, which contains the organizational process architecture. And here on the right, which is currently called the home page, users can monitor all the changes history, see what was changed, by whom, and then in which category the change was done throughout the entire process architecture. If the user is interested in a specific change, he or she can click on the Show Category button, which highlights where the change was made in the process architecture. And as you might have noticed, here on the left, the folder structure got expanded to show the highlighted category, which refers to a category on the level under source to pay. This folder tree structure capability enables forming the organizational process architecture by adding different levels of processes. Each category contains different attributes. The name and description are provided, as well as internal or external link that can be a Celonis process analysis to drill down and check the process performance, for example, or an SAP security guide. Users can also add multiple attachments of supporting documents, such as process policies and guidelines. The commenting capability allows employees to better collaborate and communicate on process category level, and the process responsibilities are shown in terms of process owner. Additionally, in order to increase the transparency, users can monitor all process changes here in the history section and see what was changed in the category and who applied the changes. Next to the attributes, process categories can contain process models. This section enables the user to document business processes for the respective categories. The model can be uploaded or can be modeled out of the box using the BPMN modeler. You can also view the existing BPMN, use the BPMN editor to make changes. So for example, Let's delete here this activity, save. And then the versioning capability enables monitoring of different versions and track the process model in time. When processes are documented in the process repository, they can be retrieved in the Celonis process analytics for process mining purposes, such as conformance checking. So after open the analytics, I can add a new sheet, add the conformance checker app. Users can now see various options for defining the target model, such as mining capabilities, as well as retrieving the models from the process repository. Here, it shows the list of stored process models in the repository. And by selecting them, I receive the model in the conformance checker to be compared against the discovered model. I'm not going to explain and go into details of the conformance checking here, since it's not part of the scope. So additionally, users can also adjust the process model here, or can mine a new one by clearing the existing one and then mine process. And here I can see all the process variants, and as a process owner, I know which ones are reflecting the expected process model. By selecting and launching, I can now visualize these variants as BPMN. This model can be directly documented in the repository by clicking on Save Model in the repository. And then I can select the desired category and the process model by updating an existing one or adding a new process model if I want to. Additionally, process documentation is also possible directly from the Explorer component. Here, I can select the desired variants. And by right-clicking on top of the model, I can export and save BPMN to repository on the same way we just saw. So I select the category. And then in this case, I'm going to create a new model. So let's do test 1, variants 1, and 5. Save. And now it's documented in the repository. So when I go back to the process repository, I can now see the model that I just saved from Process Analytics. And here we see that we got the BPMN format of the 2 selected variants. So by developing the process repository and its capabilities, we are aiming to support various use cases, such as audit and compliance. Now, after the demo, you might wonder, how can you use it? So for all academics, I would like to invite you to sign up for the IBC Academic Edition through the celonis.com/academic-alliance, or you can reach out to the Academic Alliance team via the academic.alliance@celonis.com. And for Celonis customers, you can reach out to your customer success managers. So thank you very much for your interest and attention, and I wish you all happy process mining and happy modeling.
Thanks a lot. Now it's time for question. You can either use the chat or you can unmute yourself and simply speak to us. Yeah, Will, please go ahead.
Yeah, so thanks for the presentation. I have a couple of questions. Like the first question would be a bit how this relates to, let's say, the origins of, for example, a tool like Apromore that like was created to do very similar things and has been around for a decade. That would be one question. Another question would be, you store the BPMN files in a certain format, and the question would be, what are the features that you can actually store from BPMN? Because if you look on the conformance checking side, it is just control flow and nothing more. So I'm interested, when you model, is it just control flow, or could you also add other things? And the third question would be, how does the, if you model something, then only by accident, the activity labels would be the same as the activity labels in the event log. So do you also support some kind of mapping between these two worlds?
Awesome. Thank you very much for all the questions. So could you please repeat the first one? So then we can go one by one.
So there have been similar initiatives. For example, if you look at the Apromore tool, who recently have become commercial, but Apromore started as a, let's say, process model repository tool to store different types of models, and was later extended with process mining capabilities. So there you also have, let's say, the modeling aspect and the mining aspect in one tool. And the question is, if you would compare it to something like that, but you could also take in the commercial world Signavio, to compare a bit what would be the new unique features. That would be the first question.
Sounds good. So at Celonis, we are a process mining company. And we heavily support use cases of system migration, audit compliance, and etc. And the purpose of the process repository for now is mainly for documentation purposes. So yeah. I'm not sure if this.
Yeah, so perhaps the added value for the academic world would be if you would be the content of the repository, not so much the repository itself, but what's inside it. I think that could be interesting for, let's say, many academics.
Perfect.
And the other question was, like the BPMN notation has, I believe, 150 different symbols. You can store many different perspectives there, but in your example, it was just control flow. And I know that in the conformance checker, it is just control flow. So what are the other things other than, let's say, the gateways and the activities and the order? What are the other things that you are supporting?
Got it. So, as mentioned in Celonis, in the process repository, you can upload any type of BPMN model, you can mine a new one, but you need to make sure that you, let me see if I can show you here, that you follow, sorry, in the conformance checking, that you need to make sure that you follow, for example, all the naming conventions, which you can click on, for example, in a specific activity and see all the different activities that you have already in Celonis, because right now it's really important that you follow those naming conventions.
Yeah, I think what I have observed, there's BPMN IO integrated. BPMN IO can definitely also do more elements. But I think what you just showed from the discovery, we already talked about it in the first part, is that it simply discovers the control flow, and thereby it also does not distinguish between end behavior and parallel and XOR behavior. So currently, I guess that you can only produce the XOR gateway for any bit observed. Yeah.
But that is not true, because this happened to be implemented by a student that I supervised. So here in the background, the inductive mining algorithm is used, so you can discover also end splits. Of course, in this selection, it didn't happen, because then you need to see the different interleavings. But that's not what I meant. And so I know that the discovery part, you can discover XOR splits, AND splits, loops, and all of these things work. But for example, something that is not supported is the inclusive OR, which is a part of the BPMN standard, but is rarely used. So that there have to be limitations in things that you can do when you are modeling. You can, I don't know, add all kinds of information that do not exist in this world, and vice versa.
Got it. So the process repository right now, it's in the context of early adopters program, in which we only have a few customers, and then we will release globally by end of September. So we are currently in constant communication with our customers to understand their needs and how we can better support them by adding new features. So your observation was very interesting, and I would love to understand the needs of the students more. So if you would like to contact me on the Wova app through on the message, it would be awesome. And then we can continue the conversation and see how can I take your concern and awesome insights to our product team.
Okay.
Okay. There's also a question by Nancy in the chat, and she is asking whether in Celonis exists AI. Nancy, if you want to add something to that, you can also unmute yourself.
Yes. Hi, Gabriela.
Hello.
Yes. Hello. And I'm Quito, Ecuador. Yeah. Gabriela, in the Celonis exists artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence exists in Celonis?
Yes, it does.
Okay. What is the model used? What is the model that use Celonis to machine learning and artificial intelligence?
Okay, thank you very much for your question. So we are now talking about process repository, but if you would like to learn more about other of the services that we have, including machine learning, I would be more than happy to continue the conversation with you. So you can send me a message in the Wova app, and then we continue from there.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Is there one last short question, because we have to transition soon? Giovanni, please.
Hello, thank you for your presentation. I just wanted to ask one question concerning the revision history. I've seen that basically every time you modify the process model that either you mine or you just want to store in the repository, it is kept a history of the modifications that are made to the model. What I wanted to ask, if there is any way to visually inspect the modification, because based on your demo, I've seen that for every revision, you can see the process model that was there up to that modification. What I wanted to know if that there is maybe with color convention or something like that, a way to show, for instance, that an activity was deleted, that another one was added from one revision to the other.
Thank you very much for your question. And actually, this is a fantastic point. So right now we don't support that. We only support the different versions in which you can browse through it, but this is currently on our roadmap to be implemented soon.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Giovanni, for your question. And let's thank Gabriela again. And then we will now move to the next presentation by Majid. And if you want to stay, you can stay in our session, or you find also in the chat at the beginning, you find the different Zoom rooms, and you can also switch now to another room. Okay, there's already the tool available, or we can see it very well. The floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. I'm presenting our tool for the second time. Welcome to this presentation. And in this presentation, I'm going to show you the main functionalities of our web-based application for privacy preservation and process mining. From the experience I achieved in the first presentation, I will not use big event likes to be faster. So here you see the main page of our tool. And on the left side, left menu, you can see 4 main modules: event data management module, privacy aware role mining, connector method, and TLKC privacy as our privacy preservation techniques. Let's start with event data management module, where you can upload and manage standard event logs and non-standard event data. Here you can upload one event log. For example, I can choose event log and upload that. But then here you can see the list of event logs to manage them. You can set them as input, delete them, or download them. But before setting an event log as input, if you go to privacy preservation techniques, you will see this red message indicating that you have not set any event log, and use event data management module to set your event log. Okay, I can go there and choose one of the smallest event logs that I have, then I can set it. Once you set it, you can see some general statistics about that: number of traces, number of events. Then if you go to privacy preservation techniques, you will see that this event log has been set as an input. Okay, let's start, for example, with TLKC privacy technique, which is a group-based privacy preservation techniques for process mining. Here you see many parameters, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to present all of them in detail. But you can pick the accuracy of time for the privacy aware event log. You can pick the background knowledge type, which is set, multi-set, sequence, or relative. You can set a power for your background knowledge, k-anonymity value, c-confidence pending value, and a value for the frequency, which is used to find maximal frequent traces. And here you see 2 boxes. On the left box, you can set the attributes, choose the attributes which are considered as your sensitive categorical attributes. And on the right side, you can set the attributes which are your numerical sensitive attributes. Let's say that I assume that creator is my sensitive categorical attribute. If I apply the technique, you can see the result, and you can see that for the naming, we follow a specific approach so that you can see the name of technique at the beginning, then a timestamp, then the name of the original event log that we applied this technique on that, and some parameters about the technique that we applied. Then you can add it to the list of event logs, delete it or download it. Let's say that I will add it to the list of event logs. If you go there, you will see that this is in the list of event logs. And then you have this cycle of privacy preservation techniques, and you can add it, set it as an input again, and apply another privacy preservation technique. And I will do that. I will set it as an input. Then if you go to other techniques, you will see that this is as input. I can apply privacy aware role mining to that, or I can apply connector method to that. Then if I apply connector method, for example, it results in an event data, which is not standard event log, but you can add it to the list of non-standard event logs. Let's add it to there. And here we have still standard XCS event log resulting from this technique. I can add it to the list of event logs. if I go there, for example, this one, you already saw see that based on the name, we have applied one fixed value technique and one TLKC technique. But if I download this one, this file, you will see that we support, I hope you can see the file, right? The XCS file. Any feedback? You can see the XCS file? Can you see?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Then below log attribute, we have the privacy metadata for this XCS log. And as you can see, for example, we have anonymization as the main attribute. And below that, we have applied 3 anonymizations or anonymizers. And the first one applied by TLKC privacy technique, which is just suppressing events, because what is happening in the background is that we just suppress some events from our event log. Then 2 anonymizers applied by the second privacy preservation technique that we applied. First anonymizer just is just a substitution of the activities, and the other one is the cryptography-based technique, which is hashing our activities. So you can follow based on this privacy metadata, you can see that what happened for your event log while you are after applying your privacy preservation techniques. Okay, this was one part of the presentation. Another part is that we, here you see a web-based application for process mining, which is the free version of PMTK, and we have integrated the same privacy preservation techniques in this web-based app, so that you can see the process mining results directly on the privacy aware event log that you have. For example, here we have 2 event logs. I can select one of them, then you can see the directly follows graph for this event log with some statistics about that. But what is important for us is this privacy tab, that you can see that we have integrated the same privacy preservation techniques here. For example, you can apply TLKC technique on this event log. Let's say that we will use this default parameters. If you apply that, you can see that it's loading and generating the event log. Now the event log is ready. If I click on that, you will directly see the directly follows graph resulting from privacy aware event log, which is exactly the same as the original one. Another thing about this app, standalone app, is that it's developed by the Django framework, and each privacy preservation technique is independent the Django application, so that you can run all of them even in parallel. And also another thing is that for non-standard event logs, as you saw that we applied connector method, right? Now you see that this is not XES standard event log, but it is XML file, which is based on a type that we already defined in one of our papers. It's event log abstraction. As you can see, it has 2 parts, header part and data part. In header part, you can see privacy metadata information, and data part is the data which is derived from the original event log. And in header part, privacy metadata contains origin, which shows the origin of this event log abstraction, which is the name of the event log that you have applied this connector method on that to get this event log abstraction. And you can also see the desired analysis directly here, because based on the data, you cannot guess that what you can apply to this event log abstraction. So that's why we explicitly mention here that what are the possible analysis for this event log abstraction, which is directly follows graph and process discovery, for example. Then another thing is that here we have also the link for the project on GitHub. If you want to see the source code is available for each privacy preservation technique, you can see the project independently. You can use each privacy preservation technique as an independent Python package. You can install and use only one of them. And also there are links for the main papers that you can see the concepts behind these privacy preservation techniques. And you have access to everything. Thank you. if there is any question, I'm ready to answer.
Yeah, let us have a look in the chat whether anybody wants. Not yet, but please go ahead.
Okay, I want to be here to show the original file. I'm done with the presentation. If there is any question, I can answer. This time I was much faster.
Yeah,
right?
Now you were very nice in time, very lovely, and you could also show the integrations into PM4Py, what is really nice.
Yeah.
I might.
Ah, Francesca,
Do
please.
you see me? I'm not sure.
Yeah, please go ahead, Francesca.
Okay. Yes, I'm curious to know if there is the possibility of comparing like the event logs, like visualizing, for instance, the maps after having applying the different privacy preserving methods.
You mean comparing to event logs, original event log with the privacy aware event log?
Yeah, without having to dive into the metadata.
Yeah, we have, which is considered as data utility, because you want to see that how much your data privacy aware event log is similar to the original event log that you have. And we have a paper under review to do that.
Okay.
And we introduced some techniques to see that what is the similarity between the original event log and the privacy aware event log after applying your privacy preservation technique.
Yeah, that would be really, really nice to see that. I'm looking forward.
Okay. Any further questions from the audience?
Perhaps I didn't get everything, but if you go back to the, I think it was a privacy aware world mining in which you have defined one given concept to anonymize. Is that correct? What happens if I have, like in many cases, it's not only one concept, but the combination of several of them. Like if I have in the sepsis case, I have an address related to an illness, and I know that in that city or in that address, there's only one person that has that. Is it possible? Is there a possibility to filter over a multiple set of fields?
So you mean this in this privacy aware role mining technique, or in general? In general, yeah, it's possible, but this specific technique is not for this purpose.
Okay, I remember that you show one, but perhaps it's just.
It was probably this one, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Here you can select. You can select even multiple of them. As you can see, I can select multiple of them here and multiple of them here. So it's possible to do that. But what you are doing now is that you are selecting them as sensitive attributes. You are not removing them. You are keeping them, but you want to apply privacy preservation technique on top of these sensitive attributes. So that, for example, then you have a guarantee for confidence bounding, that you are not sure that even if you can end up with, I don't know, 10 records or 10 cases, which could belong to one background, to the background knowledge that you have, still you are not sure about, for example, if you say that the cost is my sensitive attribute, still you are not sure about cost because of confidence bounding guarantee that we provide. But we are not removing data.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Welcome.
There's a dog who wants to participate.
Yeah, apparently.
Apparently.
Actually,
No.
tries to ask a question, but I cannot understand.
So Nancy, do you want to ask something?
Hey, my English no it's muy bueno, very good. But there is the software is for commercial or academic?
It's just for academic use now, not commercial too. But it's better for you because it's free.
Okay.
You can just download project from GitHub, and there are Docker containers that you can just run it. As you can see, I am also running Docker container here.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, there's the time, there's the room for question. Yeah, I was wondering, did you also already test it out on some logs and
Yeah, even if you can see here, I have sepsis event logs.
mhm,
Since
mhm.
it takes time, I didn't use that for the presentation.
Yeah, I
Or
know,
receipt event log is just real
Mhm,
event log, but
mhm.
when I'm using that, it takes time. That's why I use just running example to be fast. But
Yeah,
if you
what I'm
apply,
always wondering about, yeah, how, so there's always this between privacy preserving and on the other hand, like making sense out of this data. So like, I
yeah,
mean, it's the same thing with the BPI challenge. They also want to provide as much as you can have as data, but you should also not get too much out of it. So like, do you have any suggestion how to do that or how
the
to manage
whole
this?
techniques that we are providing are aiming this goal that you said, that we want to apply these privacy preservation techniques, but we want to keep data utility.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
For example, if you apply this TLKC privacy on sepsis event log, it depends on the parameters that you set. But if you use, let's say, moderate or between moderate and weak privacy guarantees, you will get exactly the same results. But if you set it as strong privacy guarantees, for sure you will lose data utility.
Okay.
But we try to keep data utility as much as possible.
Yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah, it's an interesting field, definitely, and a
Yeah.
very nice tool.
Thank you.
So let us thank Marit again for this very nice presentation.
Thank you.
And then we will now transfer to the last talk in the session. And yeah, let us thank us with a clap. There's this nice functionality in Zoom if you want to use it. You either can stay with us for the next presentation by Florian, or you can choose one of the other Zoom sessions. In the chat, you find also the links. Okay, Florian, maybe you can already start sharing. And we still have some time. Florian, do you have such a special screen where you have such a high resolution?
Apparently, let me.
Yeah, no, I mean it's okay, but I'm always I'm always impressed how much is on your screen. So
you may need a magnifier, no, to see the screen.
now it's better. Yeah, now
Okay.
we can see
I
it
have
better.
2 screens, and now I use the other one.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so you have one of these special, I don't know how they are called, but it's this special new kind
Yeah.
where there is a lot of space. Yeah. Okay, yeah. If you like, you can start, and then we have enough time also for questions.
Okay, and welcome again. Maybe I'm looking now a little bit in a different direction because I'm looking at the other screen for the presentation. So let's revisit SwipeX, our tool presented here for the PPM demos. SwipeX is used to find constraints between 2 different process models, and also between in one process model if possible. We have 4 different categories, 4 different algorithms to detect this spanning constraints. So let's get started with the first one, the simultaneous. I guess the most straightforward spanning constraint, for example, in a printer company. Some customer could order a poster, could order a flyer, or maybe even a bill. No, they don't order the bill, they order flyers or posters. And of course, every time they order a poster or a flyer, the bill will be created as well. So what we see here are 3 different processes, very unspectacular, so pretty straightforward. So everything is in sequence, no AND, no OR, and so on. But what we detect here sometimes is that oftentimes the execution, even though the bill or the poster or the flyer is printed, there is a time gap, different intervals, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, between the printing and the delivery. So, and if we check this with all the other different process instances, we see that deliver poster and deliver flyer and deliver bill are oftentimes executed at the same time. So why is that? One logical conclusion would be that, of course, of the resource, that someone has to bring the flyer, the bill, or the poster to a post office or something like this. And you don't want to do it like if you have like this 900 flyers, 900 posters, you don't want to do it 900 times during the day. So you want to collect everything that's been done for the day and then bring it there at once. So that's why, and of course you can deliver flyers, bills, and posters simultaneously. That's why these activities are enacted at the same time. So in our case, it was 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And so we could detect a simultaneous instance spanning constraint that delivers has to be done at the same time. For example, especially the poster and the bill and the flyer and the bill. Since flyers and posters are printed on the same day, oftentimes there's also a constraint detected here. Another constraint would be the limitations. One example would be for that a clerk at a bank can only give out $100,000 a day, even if it's to multiple customers. So there would be a constraint even in one process model that the amount of loans given out can't exceed $100,000. So if we have here the start complete. So what is start and start complete? There could be constraints between the start event of one activity to another activity, the starting event, or there could be inside of the activity. So activity starts, but is completed to a different time because of limitations. And that's the start complete. So if you have life cycles provided in our process model log, then we can distinguish between start constraints and start complete constraints. Data constraints are based on the data elements. For example, the filling amount of a printer. The less equals 0.5 is because our resources were 0 and 1. Short code for the printers. The start complete would be the filling amount of at the start event and after complete event. Execution constraints, for example, only 20 flyers are allowed to be printed every day. We couldn't detect this here. And other regularities could be on the instance level, start complete and start. The third category would be an ordering. An ordering, for example, here of our higher education domain set, which shows the process of the real-world data set of our university of one course, how some activities had to be executed. And there's only one process model. The ordering shows the ordering of events if there's a specific order between events of 2 or more process models. For one process model, it doesn't make sense to do the ordering spanning constraint since usually the ordering is already given in the process model. So with one process model, we already see that written exam takes place after kickoff meeting. So if we look at our manufacturing real-world data set, this data set, this process model shows the production of small little parts, GV12 parts for a gas turbine. And these parts are produced in a sequence. So unfortunately, we cannot detect any parallelities or something like this between two different process instances. But of one process instance, the different process models that are all executed. So for one part, there are different business processes executed. We can detect there is an ordering there. So after check state, after the clamp 2 opens, the measurement with microview takes place. So, and so on. After the door closes, another process starts. And at the end, some machine is turning. And the last one, so just a reminder, this is usually, these are 9 different process models that do not, if you only look at the process model, you do not see any ordering. But if you look at the process execution logs, then you can detect a specific order of these events, which is taking place. And for the non-concurrent part, it's similar to the simultaneous, but it's not exactly the opposite. It's that something is not allowed to be executed at the same time, because the resource would be manipulated in a bad way, for example, for parallel stuff. So check state from the MT42 NC and the turn production are not allowed to be executed at the same time. So how can you use this? This redraw models lets you redraw it based on the heuristics miner with some parameters. What you can do is upload a new data set. Prepared as always, we have these 3 data sets here. Give this collection a main, printer demo2. The merge attribute is something, since you have a bill instance and a poster instance, how do you merge these instances, or how do you find out that specifically these 2 traces are to be related to each other? Usually by an data element, an attribute. For example, here would be the customer number and the order number. So for order 1, there's a bill, and for order 1, there's also the product, the poster or the flyer, or even more. Since there's only one qualified attribute in this log, it's optional. So our algorithm tries to detect a specific merge attribute, which is available in every process instance. You can select which one of these algorithms you want to be executed. Let's have everything executed. These are parameters that are better described in the demo paper, and which allows for some filtering mechanism. We need to use some statistics. Otherwise, if you have 1,000 instances, there could be just by chance simultaneous events or an ordering and so on. So for example, Gamma3 would decide on how often a specific order needs to be taking place without the other order. That we would see it as an instance spanning constraint. The epsilon is for measurement errors. So for example, some time measures are very inaccurate, so that you can add some milliseconds or subtract some milliseconds. And then you have some parameter for the heuristics miner. So when we submit it, it's uploading the files. Unfortunately, my internet is fast enough. And what we can see here is that unfortunately it takes some time to be executed. So that's why we don't see any result here. But if you want to check it out yourself, I will post the link, because we have everything published and collected here. I will post a link in the chat then afterwards as well. So the print example, the log files are here as well. it's written in Python, the graphic user interface, and the rest, and a little bit in Ruby. And a link, the screencast, and the tutorial. So thanks for your attention, and yeah, hopefully some questions.
Thanks a lot for this presentation. So now we can discuss some aspects. You can ask some questions. You can either put them into the chat, or we are also a small group. You can also unmute yourself and ask a question. Yeah, Florian just shared the link in the chat. If you are interested, then please open it now, because it will be vanished after we closing this.
There's the link also in the demo paper. So.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The curve proceedings have now also been published on the website. You can find a download possibility, a download link. Yeah, okay, then I ask some question again. So like this whole thing was developed within a project, right? So it's integrated in a higher, or you already showed the website, but it's integrated into
the CRISP
one
project.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the project founded by the WWTF. No, what was it? WWTF, but not the one with the animals. So, and it's for detecting instance spanning constraints, also in one process model, and now we extended our reach for different process models. But this project is now concluded.
Okay, okay. So, and what are typically use cases for like identifying this instance spanning constraints? So what could you observe so far where it's very interesting?
So at first, like your work as well is focusing on something similar with the batch processing.
True.
Where we detected, we started with some simple examples like the clerk and the centrifuge, for example, where you can see that, especially if a resource is to be shared, so oftentimes that you see instance spanning constraints here when it's affordable to use and when not. And it was an interesting observation that apparently it was not at the beginning of the project, not that well. So there's no symbols in the process modeling language for showing at least back then to show their spanning constraints between different instances or different process models now as well. So these were fun little challenges or big challenges.
Yeah, great. Dirk, do you have a question? Or you just joined?
Yeah,
okay, go ahead.
Nice
to see you.
Sorry, I'm late to the whole show. I kind of just quickly looked over your video. I find it very fascinating, the visualization. It's very similar to something we created or kind of found a couple of months ago when working with graph databases and looking at multiple instances. And I also saw these kind of resource kind of interactions happening. Have you seen other kinds of instance spanning constraints besides resources?
Maybe to be honest, it's the biggest one I can remember since this project concluded some months ago. I will get back to that. I will write you a web or something if
I would be very curious to hear. Right? I mean, of course, it has to do with the process itself, right? I mean, if a process isolated, then the only thing that jumps between the different instances is a resource. But I would be curious to hear whether there are other things out there that are worth knowing. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Are there? Yeah. Okay. That's my timer. But we still have space and time to discuss things. So, like, if there is any suggestion, any question open, then please go ahead. Yeah, other than that, I also found that the tool is quite interesting, that it can show some things which are currently missing in the discoveries, that you cannot see the connection between certain things. And therefore, I think it's something where also the tool providers can look at. And yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks again to all the speakers. I think Florian is the only left one. But yeah, thanks a lot. I enjoyed it. And we will now sit together and think about who will be getting this nice award tomorrow. So looking forward, or we will see us again tomorrow in the closing session. Yeah, so bye-bye, everybody. Enjoy the afternoon.
For the chair labor also. Thank you to Luis. Bye.
Yeah, thank you, bye. Yeah, Carlos, you have a German last name.
Yes, but obviously I'm not German.
Yeah, I can hear it.
You know, I'm not blonde. And
yeah, but I mean, that's not anymore existent here. So like Germans are colorful.
Yeah.
But I can hear.
I had a great grandfather that was from Germany, from a small island in the north. This Vigalfer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know the island is practically in the frontier with Denmark, more or less. And yes, it's many years ago. He moved to Cadiz, in the south of Spain, and he founded a lithography here, and so I'm here in Seville.
Okay. So. Yeah, so you still have his nice name. It's a very common name here in Germany.
Yeah, it's the most common name, I think.
Yeah. Also, our neighbors are called like that. So. Yeah, okay. So thank you very much. Enjoy your afternoon. Bye.
Bye. You too.